Hey, what's up, all you metalheads? You guys are listening to All Things Metal. I am your host, David Claar, and I just gotta say, welcome back. And first off, I just have to say, I had a tremendous amount of awesome feedback and positive reinforcement for my first episode, the debut episode of All Things Metal with David Clare. For those of you that listened to the first episode, thank you so much. Like I said, I'm just overwhelmed. I really got a lot more support than I really thought I was going to get. So again, I'm just really humbled by that. I know if you look on SoundCloud, and I don't care, I only got 14 views on it, or 14 listeners. But again, that's like way more than I thought I was going to get. I thought for sure my mom was going to be like the only one to listen and not know a single thing I'm talking about. So I just got to say, I'm really grateful that all of you guys tuned in. There's quite a bit of stuff that was announced from the last episode to today. So let's just go ahead and dive right in. First thing I want to go ahead and talk about is two major things that happened in November. So the first major thing was Black Sabbath had their final U.S. show in San Antonio, Texas. And I was lucky enough to go to that show with my father. And I just got to say, first off, if you haven't checked out Rival Sons, they were the opening band. I can't remember where they said they were from, but Rival Sons was actually pretty good. You just got to give them credit where credit is due. I didn't know who they were leading up to the concert. And honestly, when they performed about 45 minutes, 30 minutes, 45 minutes, not too sure about the time. They played quite a bit of set. But they knocked it out of the park. I mean, I gotta say, that lead singer, he reminds me a lot of Robert Plant. His vocals were really good, his range was really awesome, and I gotta say, that guy really killed it. And you know, the ensemble that they had on stage with them really had good energy. I really digged it. Now, it's not as metal as Sabbath, but you know, it really kind of got the energy going for the crowd. A lot of people, you know, were digging it. You know, a lot of older, you know, people were there. I was pretty young. I was probably one of the youngest people that I saw there, other than you know, fathers, you know, forcing their kids to go see Sabbath with them, you know. But it was pretty good. It's pretty good. I really had a blast with the Rival Sons. But of course, getting on to the main event, Black Sabbath. Now, they had this really cool opening video. You know, they had the curtain. They had like this devil being reborn like on the screen, and it was just crazy chaos, disturbing. You know, just crazy energy. You know, the crowd was going nuts. There wasn't a single empty seat in that concert. It was filled to the brim. And so finally, you know, they open up with Black Sabbath, one of their first iconic singles. Curtain falls, there they are right there. You know, crowd's going nuts. Ozzy was amazing. Oh my God. I was glad that I was seeing Sabbath to say that I've seen Black Sabbath. But Ozzy Osbourne did fantastic. You got Geezer Butler and Tony Iommi on their respective instruments, and they were knocking it out of the park. You know, you wouldn't be able to tell that, you know, Tony Iommi was dealing, you know, with cancer. You know, he was playing with so much energy, and, you know, he was just giving it his all. And Geezer Butler had a fucking awesome-ass bass solo, man. Like, he was wailing, man. Like, he was fucking riffing it. And it was awesome. I mean, they had a killer drum solo, killer guitar solo, everything. And, you know, it was just amazing energy. And of course, they played their big hits. They played Iron Man, War Pigs, Fairies Wear Boots. They closed with Paranoid. They did Children of the Grave. They did everything so fucking awesome. Can't believe it. And you know, the fact that I was able to share that moment with my dad, someone who got me into Black Sabbath, someone who listened to their songs on the radio, would turn them up, sing along, you know, and everything like that. And, okay, so if you guys don't know, or you guys don't know my parents, which a lot of you may not, my dad is just really quiet. He's just such a quiet guy. You know, he's a big metalhead. He doesn't show it a lot, but he is a huge metalhead. He's the one that got me into metal. And so he's just really reserved. And so to see him at a metal concert, I've seen Iron Maiden with him. I've seen Kiss, Motley Crue. I've seen him, you know, in metal environments, and you know, and he gets down. But, you know, I think it's because it was his first time seeing Sabbath and Ozzy on stage that he was just so into it. My dad was cheering, yelling, he was air guitaring, singing all the songs, or singing the songs that he knew the lyrics to. It was awesome. It was an amazing moment that I was able to share with my dad, and I treated him to the whole thing. It would definitely be a moment that I'll never forget with my dad. Definitely beautiful, amazing moment. And yeah, it just really sucks. I just wish I really think Black Sabbath has the potential to keep touring for, as long as they want. But I do understand, they are getting older. It's just time that they give the fans one big awesome show. And honestly, I loved their last album, 13. They didn't play anything off that album, which I was a little bit disappointed from. But I mean, I see the appeal, or I see the reasoning why behind it, is because they wanted to make sure that they're playing all their classics. They played songs that they haven't played in years. I can't remember what they played. Oh man, they just had such a huge set list. It was close to 2 hours long. But they played a lot of songs that I honestly haven't seen them perform that often. It was just fantastic. But speaking on that note, even though Black Sabbath is done touring, I know they just did South America. They just finished up over there. But I think once they finish in London, that's going to be it. That's going to be it for Black Sabbath. But Ozzy Osbourne has already said that once he's done touring with Black Sabbath, he's going to start working on some new Ozzy material and start touring under just the Ozzy solo name. Which, again, being a big fan, I definitely would go see that. But again, I just think because he's just coming off of such a huge tour with Sabbath, I just don't know how I'd feel, with him just coming off that tour and going straight into new material and straight into the Ozzy solo name. I just think he should give it some time, kind of rethink everything. Because, Black Sabbath is where he's got to start. And for him to kind of be like, oh yeah, I'm sharing this moment with Black Sabbath, we did this, we're done. Okay guys, have fun, bye. Now it's time to go back on the road and make more money. I don't know, that's just kind of, I just think he should slow it down, especially because he was really slow. Like, he was not really mobile on stage. And when he was in front of the microphone, he was there. But when he had to walk off stage, it took him a good while to walk off stage to get like a drink of water or something. It was crazy, but I mean, his vocals were still beautiful. He still had that range. It was awesome. And the other biggest thing that dropped on November 18th, I believe it was November 18th, Metallica's Hardwired to Self-Destruct. Holy shit. That album exceeded expectations. I don't care what anybody says. That album was fan-fucking-tastic. Of course, as soon as you pop the CD in, Hardwired comes on, starts, you're already familiar with it. They released it a few months ago. You're already air guitaring. If you're like me, you already have all the lyrics memorized. You're singing it. You're blasting it. Then it comes ripping in Atlas Rise. Another fantastic hit. Honestly, off that album, the first CD is absolutely fantastic. I loved every single song on it. The second CD, I wasn't feeling that much. But then you got Spit Out the Bone that comes out of nowhere fucking sounding like Kill 'Em All. Honestly, like, there's shades of Kill 'Em All. And also, quick side note, I also got, I don't know if anyone else got this, but I got a lot of sense of Maiden on that album. There was a lot of moments where it was kind of a galloping, and there was a lot of melodies that just sounded really Iron Maiden-ish. But that's just me, but it still sounded awesome. But just coming back, dude, Spit Out the Bone, holy shit. Like, that, I honestly don't know which one to pick, as my favorite song of the album. It's honestly a three-way tie between Hardwired, Moth to Flame, and Spit Out the Bone. But, that album, I honestly give it 5 stars out of 5 stars. And I'm not saying that because I am a hardcore Metallica fan. Even if I was a casual Metallica fan, and I picked that up as my first Metallica album that I'm buying, it blows my mind how good it was. I'm glad they took as long as they did, so that way they can really perfect the album. And so that way they had it ready. And I definitely give them credit for that. Everybody was on top of their game. Everybody. You got James Hetfield singing again. Awesome. You could tell his vocal, his voice is rested. And he was able to belt out a lot of those songs. Lars Ulrich playing drums super aggressive like he used to back in the day. Super awesome. It's rare now that you hear Lars play on, double bass drums. And gives it that metal feel, like Death Magnetic. He used double bass, but he didn't use it like hardcore as he used to in all the other early albums, like Injustice for All, Kill 'Em All, Ride the Lightning. You just didn't hear that anymore. So to hear Lars and and James, Kirk, and all of them, going at it, back sounding like 80s Metallica. Now I hate when people say that. I hate when people say, "Oh yeah, this sounds like their old stuff," or "Oh yeah, this sounds exactly like their old stuff." But like, I hate that because I just feel that it's so overused. But for Metallica, it fits them so perfectly. It fits them so perfectly. And staying on the Metallica Hardwired train, going into some breaking news. A lot of stuff has been announced since our last episode, and one thing leading up, one of the biggest shockers that, well, not biggest shockers, I'll get to that. There is a big shockers when it comes to the Grammy nominations, when it comes to metal music. But I gotta say, Metallica nominated for a Grammy already for Best Rock Song, Hardwired. Off their new album. It hasn't even been out a month, and boom, they're already Grammy nominated for Hardwired. That's fucking awesome, because, metal music is just not recognized in the Grammys anymore. Not saying that they were ever really recognized, but the Academy doesn't really focus that much on metal music. And, and I just don't get to it why. And metal music is so influential, it's so inspirational. Metal music is one of the biggest and most, widest variety of genres of music out there. They have just so many subgenres that not really any other genre of music has. And for that, in that such a huge category of music, not only narrows it down to rock and metal, that's ruling out so many, so much potential, Grammy Awards for so many good bands. And speaking on metal, I noticed that Megadeth and Korn are actually being recognized for Best Metal Performance. Rotting in Vain by Korn and Dystopia from Megadeth. Now, out of the metal categories, I really feel like those are the two of the heaviest tracks that they have nominated. And Gojira is also nominated. Gojira, always forget how to pronounce that name. Gojira is nominated for the Best Metal Performance category. But I'm really kind of shocked that the Academy's even recognizing Korn of all bands. As far as I know, I've never really seen Korn. But in Megadeth too, I'm really surprised that they even considered Megadeth. As far as my opinion, someone who's been heavily snubbed from the Academy, over the years. And, I'm just really shocked. But of course, the biggest shocker, when I was saying earlier, the biggest shocker when it came to the Grammys. Now, and I don't know why this caused such a huge outrage. Now, I'm being serious. As soon as the Grammys came out, or the Grammy nominations came out, everybody was talking about this. And I'm pretty sure if you're familiar with it or keep up with this stuff, you're going to know what I'm talking about. Disturbed and Beyonce both nominated for a Best Rock Performance Grammy. Disturbed, Disturbed, them. Nominated with Beyonce. What the fuck? So first glance, it sounds like, what the hell's going on? But then, you really got to think about it. Oh, sorry, I'm talking so much, I'm getting thirsty. But you really got to think about it, So let me just break it down. Disturbed is nominated for their performance of Sound of Silence on The Conan Show. Beyonce is nominated for her performance with Jack White from the White Stripes, Don't Hurt Yourself. Those are the two songs that everyone's, questioning. Now, I saw Disturbed back at River City Rock Fest, this past year, River City Rock Fest 2016, and when they performed Sound of Silence live, holy shit, oh my god, you could hear a pin drop. The crowd was so intense. Or not the crowd, the moment was so intense with the lead singer just, belting out that song and just so stoic and dark, and you just really feel his voice resonating with the air, and oh my god, the audience, I can't describe the audience. It was phenomenal, and to be a part of that, like I was waiting for my girlfriend to come pick me up. Well, now she's my fiance. I was waiting for her to pick me up, and she was blowing up my phone because she couldn't find me, and I was just there, paralyzed, like I was in a trance because it was just so beautiful. And then I haven't heard the performance, or I haven't watched it. I'm not saying that Beyonce isn't a good artist. She really is. I've actually seen her in concert, believe it or not. That was one of my first concerts I ever went to. But I don't know. I see people, especially the metal community. The metal community was so disgusted. They were disgusted that Disturbed and Beyonce were nominated in the same category. Now, as far as the reasoning why Beyonce, why they were mad at Beyonce, I just really didn't understand the reasoning behind that. She just performed a song. Jack White is a huge artist. A lot of people want to work with Jack White, and a lot of people want to work with Beyonce. As far as putting them under a rock performance, I don't really know. I mean, I would definitely put that like a pop performance. I mean, to me, the song sounds more like radio pop, like than it does really rock music. But I mean, I can see it under rock performance. But I mean, I just don't know why people were so disgusted. And like, there were metalheads that are like, oh, Beyonce shouldn't even be around there, or Disturbed shouldn't even be considering that. They should be outraged. I'm like, hell no. If I was Disturbed, I would be like, fuck yeah, I'm nominated in the same category as Beyonce. You never know, man. You could have some people that look at these nominations and like, what? I want to check out that Sound of Silence. Let me see what that's all about. Holy shit, dude, this band rocks. Who the fuck are they? Disturbed? Okay, and then they start getting into their music, probably checking out, 10,000 Fists, Stricken, Down with the Sickness, it's probably number one video that pops up on YouTube when you type in like DIS and it pops up Disturbed, Down with the Sickness. And that could create, that's a good channel for Disturbed to get some more fans, especially because I just think within these past few years, Disturbed has just kind of stayed stagnant with the fans that they have. It's like you either love Disturbed or you just don't love them at all, or you just don't really listen to them. And so with me, I love Disturbed, and I always have and always will. I've loved them since I was in middle school. But I really think that's awesome. Disturbed and Beyonce nominated for the same Grammy. I mean, I'm guarantee you, because of Beyonce, how huge she is, I guarantee you that she's going to win. If she doesn't, I'll be definitely shocked. But I'm really glad that Disturbed is being recognized, because that performance was, amazing. And I'm not talking about the one at River City Rock Fest. I'm talking about the one that they performed on Conan. It was fantastic. So yeah, I mean, the Grammys, pretty shocking information there. Like I said, but we still have a lot of stuff to cover. As far as breaking news wise, I say it's breaking news. So we left off the last episode, we were talking about underrated bands. And me and Steven, we talked about Brujeria. They're a Mexican death metal band, they come straight from Mexico, fucking heavy. As soon as we finished that episode, maybe a few days later, they announced their second half of the tour, and San Antonio is on the bill. San Antonio, Brujeria is going to be here. They're going to be here on January 21st. It's going to be amazing. Brujeria, they have the Casualties opening up for them, a huge punk band, huge like punk rock band. They're pretty big. I know they're pretty big. But I'm just super excited, man. I really hope I can go and catch that show. It's going to be really fucking heavy. I'm really excited. They're doing this for the crap, I can't remember the name of the tour. It has something to do with Trump, I know that. It's in Spanish, so I'm not even going to try to say it because I'll butcher it. But yeah, so Brujeria is coming to town. Another big announcement was really huge, and I'm not excited for it, and I'll tell you why. Guns N' Roses. Guns N' Roses is extending their North American tour, and they're coming to San Antonio, Texas. They're going to be at the Alamo Dome, I think in September of 2017. I know it's late mid 2017. Yeah, everyone freaked out. I had a lot of friends on Facebook that are like, oh my god, I saw people were already buying tickets as soon as they went on sale. I'm not excited for it. I honestly think that Axl Rose just can't sing as good as he used to. I saw his videos when he, performed with AC/DC. And the funny thing was, I think he did a better job performing with AC/DC than he did with his own band on this past tour. Because, if you really think about it, Brian Johnson really has, naturally has those, raspy voices. And Axl Rose has made his voice sound like that because, of all the drugs and alcohol he abused, in the 80s and everything. But, and even though his voice was, kind of croaky with Guns N' Roses, I just think the fact that, I don't know, I've seen videos and I'm not impressed. Now, the rest of the band, is fantastic. Slash is still shredding, which I don't doubt that he will never stop shredding, but I'm really not that for it, and again, I love Guns N' Roses. I'm a huge fan, but I just wouldn't pay money to see someone with a shaky voice. I mean, if you love it, if you want to go for it, go for it. I'm not shitting on them. I'm just saying that I wouldn't see it because I just don't trust his voice. Same aspect that I wouldn't go see Van Halen now with David Lee Roth at vocals because his voice just doesn't sound the same. He didn't rest it, he didn't take care of his voice, and he fucked it up. And he fucked it up for the fans because, my brother and my mom went to go see Black Sabbath, Van Halen a few years ago, and, they showed me videos, and he sounded terrible. He sounded like garbage. And, and it's just really disappointing, and that's how I feel the same way with Axl Rose. I'm really disappointed with the way he's treated his voice over the years and hasn't kept up with it. So, I mean, I guarantee you it's going to be a stellar show. It's going to sell out. It's going to be a huge crowd, huge energy. I'm just not personally excited for it, just because of that reason. Now, a show that I am excited for, a show that I'm really super excited for, River City Rock Fest, San Antonio's big rock metal festival, in San Antonio. They just announced their headliners for the one upcoming March 27th, 2017. They got Fozzy, lead singer Chris Jericho. They got Fozzy coming to town. They got In Flames, pretty huge band. They got Papa Roach, The Offspring, Godsmack. And I'm telling you, I legit teared up this morning when I saw this. The main headliner, Def fucking Leppard. Def Leppard. Holy fucking shit! Oh my god, I can't believe it. I'm telling you because Def Leppard hasn't been to San Antonio since I was in high school. And they came to San Antonio with Heart. I was unable to go. They've been to Austin a couple times. They went to Austin with Kiss, where they had Kiss open up with them. Then they went to Austin again, where they had Tesla open up for them. And I was unable to go to both of those shows. Now here they are coming to my hometown with such a stacked fucking lineup. And holy shit, it's going to be amazing. That's who I'm mostly excited for. Of course, you got Godsmack and The Offspring. Two major bands, two huge bands in themselves. Yeah, that show is insane. I believe tickets go on sale on Friday, December 16th. Yeah, and I'm definitely going to try to go out there. Definitely going to try to go out there. I'm really excited for that. It's going to be huge. And I got my fiance on board with me because Taking Back Sunday is going to be there. Buck Cherry, they're going to be there. 3 Days Grace. They got a lot of bands that she's kind of into going, so she said that she's down to go with me, which makes me happy. Of course, if any time I could bring her around metal music, that's, that's what I'm happy for. And last tour that's announced, will be officially announced this Wednesday. By the time you listen to this episode, it's probably already announced. Carnifex released a teaser video with kind of teasing and hinting that they're going on tour with Despised Icon, Fallujah, Rings of Saturn, Lorna Shore, and She Must Burn. Now that's a stacked lineup. Now I'm pretty sure that once they announce it officially, that there's gonna be like alternate bands on alternate dates. But goddamn, Carnifex came to town with Cannibal Corpse not too long ago, or they were going on tour with Cannibal Corpse, and I really wanted to go check them out. I had to work that night and I was unable to get tickets. But Carnifex is one of those bands that really kind of reminds you of the good old days of death metal and like deathcore. It's going to be really fucking grimy. It's going to be huge. Definitely excited. Hopefully San Antonio or someplace close is on the on the tour dates, because that's something I would definitely love to go check out. So that kind of wraps it up for breaking news, I guess you can say. Kind of major announcements. Since we've left off at the last episode. Now moving on to this month's topic. Now it's something that I kind of talk about on my own from time to time, kind of just like it comes up in conversations with my metalhead friends. Common misconceptions about metal music. Everybody has them. And there's really big major ones. So what bothers me is that anytime I talk about metal music, people give me like, no, I'm not saying everybody, but there's people out there that kind of give you dirty looks or kind of say kind of the same things over and over again. And one of the most common misconceptions there is about metal music is that all of it is satanic. Fuck off. If you think metal music is satanic, I just gotta tell you, dude, you're a fucking dumbass. I say that with the truest kind of, feeling in my heart. That offends me. Because now, and I'll be the one to tell you, I like pentagrams, I like the devil, but not in the sense that, oh my god, I worship the devil, or, I love promote evil, or anything like that. No, that kind of stuff looks cool to me, and that stuff has always been synonymous with metal music. Now, when I was a little kid, and I started listening to Motley Crue, who has a pentagram in their fucking logo, Anthrax, Slayer, all of them have pentagrams somewhere or about their logo, have a song about the devil. But I didn't think that, when I was a kid, I didn't put any religious implications on metal music. Metal music was just another form of music. It just had guitars instead of keyboard, like synth. But anytime someone asks me, oh, David, what kind of music you listen to? I like heavy metal. Oh, so you worship the devil? No, I don't fucking worship the devil. And I have a pentagram tattoo on my chest. Doesn't mean that I worship the devil. It looked fucking cool. Pentagrams look cool. The devil looks cool. Doesn't mean I'm going to go around and chop people's heads off or tell people they're wrong for, being Christian or Catholic, whatever you may be. I don't associate any kind of religion with metal music. And a lot of other metalheads do too. And I guarantee you, that's what every metalhead says. I'm tired of being called a Satan worshiper. It sucks. It labels you, and that fucking sucks. And honestly, some of and this is true, and I've seen this kind of post, float around Facebook and everything, but the nicest people I've ever met have been those with tattoos, piercings, and metalheads, and some of the rudest people I've ever met have been Christians or people that worship God and go to church and everything. Now, along those same lines, there's people out there, there's Christian metal bands, there's Catholic metal bands, there's metal bands that are, involved with God and deal with that. I love Striper. I was talking about them on the last episode, and they talk about Jesus and their love for the Lord and Savior and this and that. It's heavy music, so I fucking like it, and I don't care what the hell they're talking about. And that's kind of the same thing. And so along those same lines, it kind of ties in together, that metal music promotes violence. I have never been violent, and I've never felt the urge to go out and kill people or shoot up schools or anything like that when I've listened to metal music. And I listen to some pretty heavy shit. I listen to songs, talking about rape and murdering priests and, this and that. And I just listen to it, and I can, function normally just like every other metalhead out there. Now, there are people out there that aren't mentally there, and they take the words that they take the lyrics to a whole different level and give those words meaning. And this has kind of been dealt with, like the whole Columbine thing, and Marilyn Manson, was accused of promoting violence because those kids were listening to, the Marilyn Manson album that came out at that time. And Marilyn Manson, out of respect, for the people that lost their lives, I think, if I'm not mistaken, he canceled a bit of his tour dates, to pay his respects because, he was under a lot of pressure. He was under a lot of fire. Same thing with Judas Priest. When those teenagers killed themselves over in London because they were listening to Better By You, Better Than Me, and they got a deeper meaning from that song, and they killed themselves. And Judas Priest was on trial for that. I just think that, a few sick people, who didn't get the help that they needed, they used metal as an outlet, but unfortunately they just took it the wrong way. Now, I'm not saying that metal music is clean and friendly. No, trust me, there's metal music out there that is, completely filthy and, gross and talks about, demonic things and talks about, violence and stuff. But it's just all art. It's just all, they write it. It doesn't mean that they're going out there and doing it. And that's what kind of sucks is that, because you got people out there that are singing about it, because you know what? And I've seen countless interviews and, and countless articles that they write these kind of things because it's creative, because, they like war movies, they like, Lord of the Rings. A lot of the stuff has really to do with a lot of nerdy implications. Dungeons and Dragons, Lord of the Rings, sci-fi. Like, they get all their violence, from, like, watching shows like Star Trek. There was tons of violence in Star Trek, Star Wars. They just kind of made it more animated and kind of more of a storytelling vibe. So, it's unfortunate that you got people out there that, that needed medical help, mentally, and they took the words the wrong way. But that doesn't mean that metal music promotes violence. Now, this is an argument that goes on still even to this day, like with the Supreme Court and everything like that. It's not as prominent as it was in, like, the late 80s, early 90s. But, it's still a topic that, people always circle back around to. Now, yes, at metal concerts, people mosh, they hit each other and everything like that. But those are the people that all enjoy the same music, and, and they're there to enjoy that music with each other. Now, whoever created moshing, I don't even know. I really don't see the purpose of it. I've never moshed or punched anyone. But you know what? Those people get a sense of joy and fulfillment out of it, and they keep it within that circle. They don't go out and hit people and, and kill people, due to metal music. And that's what I'm saying. Metalheads are one of the most nicest groups of people I've ever met in my entire life, and I'm glad that I'm part of that community. Another common misconception that people got, and I actually got this comment on one of the live feeds that I did on my Facebook page, which really pissed me off, and I kind of went on a rant, But internally, I was really fucking pissed. It's all screaming. They don't even sing. Oh, like, yes, so there's genres of metal out there where they do the growls, they do the screaming. But, like, have you even listened to early metal? Black Sabbath, the godfathers of metal music. Ozzy Osbourne never screamed a day in his life. Now, he sings high pitch, but he never screams. You got King Diamond, whose vocal range is super fucking wide. Bruce Dickinson, who's known for singing really fantastic. Rob Halford, the list can go on and on and on and on and on and on and on. I can list every single metal band singer who's never screamed a day in his life. I can go on forever. But the fact that, it's all screaming, it's no singing. Now that's a shitty judgment. That's like for saying me, all country songs are about tractors and cowboy boots and beer. You see what I mean? And I know it's not, because I've listened to country music. I'm not a big fan, but I know it's not all about beer and, women and crying and being brokenhearted and, this and that. So it's kind of shitty for you, to people to label something that they don't even listen to. Like, with me personally, I'll talk shit about something, but I'll only talk shit about something if I actually know what it is or actually listen to it. So for people to label metal music as just all screaming, no singing, is just terrible. Same thing when people say, like, metal music is just noise. Well, everything is noise. If it makes a sound, that's a noise. So it's kind of stupid for people to say metal music is just a noise. If you don't enjoy anything, if something is just going to be labeled as just noise. Like with me, I think country music is just noise. A lot of the this post-hardcore punk pop, whatever, it's just noise to me, and it's considered metal music. Just because it's not one of my favorite subgenres doesn't mean I'm just going to discredit it as a musical genre. It's still going to be there. So I mean, these are the kind of things that really bother me and and other metalheads that I've talked to, and it's a really shitty thing to go around and label metalheads as violent, satanic worshippers, and I just don't know, it just really cuts home, and really I dealt with a lot of that, I wouldn't say on a personal level, but I was in high school and middle school, I was just around a lot of people who were just really heavily religious. Now, there was this one girl that was in one of my classes in high school, my senior year. Now, she was really church-going, this and that. I never talked to her a day in my life. One day, I wore my Iron Maiden shirt, the number of the beast. It has the devil on it, the 666. It has the album cover, written in blood. And so she decides to just come up and talk to me and say that I need to go find Jesus. I'm polluting my brain. I'm brainwashed, to think that, the devil is the right way. And I told her, I was like, well, what makes you say that? And she was just like, well, because of the shirt you're wearing. I'm like, do you even know who this is? She said no, because she didn't know who Iron Maiden is. Like a lot of people my age group, they don't know who Iron Maiden is. And I was like, okay, well, because you don't know who they are, why do you automatically assume it's about the devil? Well, because there's the devil on it. And I'm like, okay, a lot of metal music has the devil on it. And, and it kind of kept going back and forth. And I told her, I was like, you know what? Iron Maiden, yeah, they have songs that say the devil, and yes, the chorus of the song is 666, the number of the beast, 666, the one for you and me. But, it doesn't mean that I'm going out there, chopping off goat heads and, drawing pentagrams and salt. That's just a song. And if you've ever looked up the true meaning behind, the number of the beast, which I'm not going to go into detail because I can go on for a whole 3 hours about that. If you want to look into it your own, you can look up the true meaning behind the number of the beast, and it's not what you think. And, a lot of Iron Maiden songs aren't what you think. They get a lot of their songs, from folklore and stories, And so when I was telling her that, and, and I honestly, and I got her offended, but, I still hold this point to, to a true meaning today. That, that a lot of Iron Maiden songs, come from, folklore. Just like a Rime of the Ancient Mariner. That's an old, mariner's tale, from Greek mythology. I can't really remember the essence, but it's from an actual, one of those kind of poems that, like, tell a wartime classic. I don't know, I can't remember, it's been so long since I've been in school. But, Rime of the Ancient Mariner is an actual, like, novel, it's an actual poem, and so they took the song, they took those, words, and just made it into a musical masterpiece. And, when I told her, I was like, well, the Bible is considered folklore too, in some cultures and religions. And, and she just automatically got super offended when I said that. I was like, well, think about it. It's just story. I was like, and I know there's proof out there, and this and that. I'm not saying anything. I'm not trying to start a huge religious debate. But, I was telling her, I was like, you know what? I think the Bible's folklore. Doesn't mean I'm going to go around bashing it. Doesn't mean I don't believe in it, And she just got really pissed off because, she was trying to make me feel bad for the music that I liked and the music that I listened to. And, and I wasn't going to sit there and have something that I love, that I take personally, be bashed. And so, and ever since that day, before she moved schools or she left that class, I don't know what the fuck she did. I'm glad she did. She was a bitch. But, she would leave, like, little prayer, like, those prayer cards on my desk. And she would, like, leave, like, random ads for the stuff that she would do at her church. And I crumpled it up, and she would see me crumple it up, and I'd throw it away. Because I'm like, I don't need that shit. That's so rude and offensive. I'm not going to go around and put my beliefs on other people. That's just shitty. That's a shitty thing for you to do. If you think metal music is satanic or you think it promotes violence, then don't listen to it. Then don't associate with metalheads. Because then you're just going to be dealing with that kind of stuff. And honestly, you'll be missing out on a really good friend, because all of my good friends are metalheads, and I love them forever. I fucking love you. Never change, metalheads. Never fucking change. So those are the common misconceptions that I just really think needed to be addressed, and especially, with this show, I'm just really excited. Now I have a front that I can talk to people about metal music, and they can tune in and everything like that. That makes me really happy that I can do stuff like that. So that kind of sums it up for this month's topic. If I missed anything, or if you think that there's another more common misconceptions out there that maybe I just didn't talk about, always feel free to leave it in the comment section. Send me a message on any of my Twitter, Facebook, YouTube. I have a YouTube channel now. Added that after the last episode. Always feel free to hit me up, and we can talk about stuff. If you ever want to come on the show, let me know too. So, moving on to some pretty prominent anniversaries. Now, I'll try to tackle, anniversaries every single month, going forward. So, some of the biggest, the three biggest anniversaries I think, stick out the most. It looks like we talked a lot about Black Sabbath this month. So, Sabbath, Bloody Sabbath, their album turned 43 on December 1st, 2016. That album came out in 1973. And that album still holds up to this day. It's fan-fucking-tastic. Sabbath, Bloody Sabbath, of course, the title track, is still super fucking heavy to this day, even to today's standards. Speaking of heavy music, Slayer's debut, No Mercy, turned 33 on December 3rd, 2016. 33 years, 1983. Slayer's been around for 33 years. Really sit back. If I have anybody that's listening to this, that was around in 1983, 33 years. You should feel old, because you are old. I wasn't even thought of yet. And of course, the hardest anniversary, and I know how much this sucks, but it needs to be brought up because it should never be forgotten. December 8th, 2016. December 8th, 12 years ago. I can't think of the date. Sorry. December 8th, 12 years ago, Dimebag Darrell was killed in Columbus, Ohio, when he was performing on stage with Damageplan. It's been 12 years since we've lost one of the most influential guitarists of all time. One of the heaviest fucking guitarists. Didn't give a fuck about his playing style. He went out there to fucking shred and make people happy. And that's what he did. And I grew up listening to Dimebag Darrell. And see, I didn't know... Like, when I was listening to it, I just thought, this is just Pantera. This is Dimebag, Damageplan, man. Fuck yeah. And I just remember... I don't remember the time that he died. I just remember discovering it really late. Now, that was back before I really had internet or had access to, like, social media and stuff. Or when I was really prominent on the internet. So I didn't hear about it until a few years later, and I was like, wait, what? I just thought Pantera, just went on this big old, hiatus. Same thing with Damageplan. I was just like, wait a second, Dimebag is dead? And that was terrible, and it's a terrible thing, and to realize. And I just can't believe it, and, I can go on and on about it, but, just rest in peace, Dimebag. You're really fucking heavy. And keeping up with that, like I said, every month we're going to have a top 5 list. And so my top 5 list, and I dedicate this whole episode to Dimebag Darrell, rest in peace. So today's top 5 list is going to be my top 5 Pantera songs. So at number 5, I have Cemetery Gates. It's one of their softer songs, but still holds up really fucking heavy. Then Becoming. If you've never heard Becoming, it's a popular song, of course, among huge Pantera fans. But if you're a casual Pantera fan, you should really check it out. Number 3, I have Walk, of course, off Vulgar Display of Power. Super fucking heavy track, one of the most, commercial, one of the most popular. And number 2, I have Mouth for War. Honestly, it's one of their deeper cuts. I just think it's not really played that much, but I really love it. It's really fucking heavy. And of course, my number 1 song from Pantera, Cowboys from Hell, which is probably a lot of number 1 songs from everyone else. But yes, Cowboys from Hell always will be super heavy. One of the first Pantera songs I ever heard as a kid, and it will always stand the test of time. Now, that kind of sums it up for this month's episode. Thank you guys so much for listening. What we have to look forward to next episode. Next episode, I'm really excited to talk about. We'll have a couple good guests on the show to talk about metal music and its connection with WWE. Now, next month, I'm going to dedicate to the metal and WWE because me and my fiance, we're going to WWE Royal Rumble 2017 on January 29th. Well, on January 28th, the day before, if you're familiar with WWE or as the biggest fan as I am, you guys are familiar with NXT, WWE's rookie program. Now, Leslie and I, we're going to be going to the NXT TakeOver. Usually for the big pay-per-view events, they have, the NXT, they have their pay-per-views events the day before the big pay-per-view. So we're lucky enough to be going to both NXT and the Royal Rumble. So sometime before Royal Rumble weekend, it definitely will knock out the next episode. Of course, we'll be going over what's been released, any anniversaries. We'll be going top 5s, breaking news, everything like that. Kind of following the same format, which I've gotten a lot of compliments on about, following kind of have an organization, I guess with podcasts, I was really looking into, and I heard a lot about that. Podcasts are kind of all over the place. So for it to kind of keep order, I know I sound so nerdy right now. I did my research. And this is what I found. But yeah, so, I just like following this, this plan too. I think it really keeps everybody up to date. So that's what we have to look forward to in January. Of course, whatever happens from now until then, definitely will be discussed on the next episode. I gotta thank you guys so much. Please like, share, this if you're listening to it on SoundCloud, All Things Metal with David Claar. Thank you so much. Gotta do the shameless plug of the social media. If you haven't already, go like the page on Facebook at All Things Metal with David Claar. You can follow me on Twitter at AllMetalDC. And you could also like and subscribe on YouTube, All Things Metal with David Claar. And now I searched myself just because I was curious, and sure enough, I found it, and I fangirled. I was like, oh my god, that's my video. Oh my god. So I'm really happy, and again, also, I found out that I can actually put these on iTunes. So hopefully an iTunes version of the episodes will be coming soon. Just got to see how that works, but I'm really excited in case you guys, can't really work SoundCloud or YouTube or anything like that. Definitely will be excited to share that on iTunes. Again, thank you guys so much for all the support and all the likes, everything. I'm really excited about doing this. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. Stay fucking heavy.